Bwala. We're talking about Bwala and his now infamous interview with Hassan Mehdi of Al Jazeera. Now, that name, Bwala, has become a household name. I don't think I know of anyone who has not yet heard about that name, had an opinion about the name, said something about the name. Now, let's circle back. Bwala requested for that interview. He, in fact, orchestrated it, requested it, planned it for the past 6 months, only for him to show up unprepared. And he should know, in his position as a media advisor to the president, that you don't show up to shows like that unprepared, thinking your arrogance is going to carry you through. And that was his number one mistake. He went in there feeling like he knew everything about, just about everything in the world, and there was no one who could advise him. And I doubt that he even had a little small think tank to advise him prior to going into that interview. Now, if you haven't watched the interview, I'll spare you the details. It's on the internet. You can watch the whole thing. But the key takeaway from me from that interview is that, he showed how arrogant he is, which is a poor reflection of the government. And I'm afraid he's not the only one that has that kind of arrogance, but he epitomizes the arrogance which some of the government officials, ministers, and so on display when they are dealing with Nigerians. Only this time he met his match and much more, because Mehdi swept the floor with him. Now, he quoted so many things that he said against this president when he was in the opposition, and he flat out lied, denied, never said that, didn't say that. It's a fiction of your own imagination. And then the guy just quotes him like with dates and newspapers and times. In fact, I give the guy credit because the only thing he didn't do was actually show him. I'm glad a lot of Nigerian commentators have brought out video evidence of where he actually said those things verbatim, just the way the man challenged him. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole interview, but he was flawed. He didn't do the country any favors at all. He painted the president in a bad light. What baffles me is why he's still on the media team. I'm not here to give advice to the president who to put as his spokesperson, but certainly Bwala is not the right person for that job. I know you people can create jobs out of thin air. You can create some, inconsequential jobs that doesn't need him talking to anyone, not even his, and just put him there. Because for this job, I think he's trying to punch way above his own height in it. Lesson number one from that interview, never go to any interview, local, foreign, or however, unprepared. You should have a team around you, employed or not, or even just friends or even critics, to go through what you're likely to be asked. It's like, presenting for a school debate without preparing. You just heard, all right, this is what we're debating about, and you just show up like that. Even if you know the topic or something, a little bit about it, they could switch it around and say you're for or you're against. Or if all you've known is for the for and it's now switched to the against, well, you'll find yourself floundering like he did. So minimum preparation, 0. Humility, 0. Lying in the face of the international public, humiliating. And then doubling down when he got back and the heat was up, trying to say, oh, he was misquoted, he was taken out of context, oh, Nigerians. Shameful. And even when it was proven that with video evidence now, which that guy, kindly didn't show because otherwise the country will just be down the pits. With video evidence, he still had the effrontery to sermonize us about how the other guy edited what he said. There was no editing, it was live. People were there. He said, oh, well, I didn't know he was going to ask me this question. Duh. I mean, in this day and age, goodness gracious, even if people forget, the internet never forgets. So you should know that coming from the opposition, you did say real horrible things about the president, and to go on stage and flatly deny. I mean, you could even just, how will I say, you could be a bit diplomatic and say, well, I said that, but now having, worked with the president a bit, I now realize that, what I said was in error, and, surely I don't believe that, because if I do, I won't be in his government, I wouldn't have taken the appointment, and if I took it, well, so those things were said in the heat of whatever opposition or whatnot. But now, working with him, I feel he's the right man for the job. Look, several lines in that place where that guy actually gave him a platform to redeem himself. Instead, his arrogance didn't even allow him to see when the guy was trying to give him, on a platter, an escape route. Let this just serve as a lesson to a lot of the government ministers and other government functionaries who, quite frankly, behave like Bwala or are even worse. That what you get away with from the Nigerian press, who ask you very flawed questions, they probably give you the questions beforehand so that you can harmonize your answers. Out there, it's not like that, okay? Real journalism is practiced. And what Hassan Mehdi showed is that, there are real journalists out there. And the other thing he showed is that we actually do not have real journalists in Nigeria. So, Bwala, I think you should just stay away from the news cycles for a bit, learn your lessons, and then either change course, be more humble, or Mr. President, give him the sack. Thanks.